Oh man, what a mess I have on my hands. Well, I guess it's going to be a long spring getting this place back to normal. All right, anyhow, let's get started. Guys, welcome back here to the Hillside Farm. It's been a long time, and by long time, I'm talking about 7 months since you've had an update here at the property. Well, due to some injuries, some stuff going on, a lot of work-related things, I have not been able to be up here for a long time. Okay, I've been up here once or twice, just kind of looking after the place a little bit, but you can tell that the grass is overgrown in the spots I was mowing. However, I'm going to show you what I have here, what I've already done to kind of get the place back under control, and talk about some of the plans I have for this spring here, 2023, at the Hillside Farm, and what we're going to do to make this place just awesome. So let's follow along and see what I'm about. So out here in the field, you can tell it's been kind of overgrown here, but I was going to do a soil test, and what I've done is just turn over one shovel, little spade here of soil here, and I pulled out some worms. Okay, now this is a good sign as far as organic matter goes. Worms need to be in organic soils. If your soil is dead or unlively, you're hardly going to have a lot of worms. Okay, so this is a positive sign. But when you do a soil test, it's pretty basic. You're just going to want to dig down. You don't want to take the topsoil because that may have an artificially high amount of organic matter at the surface. So what you're really trying to get is the soil down here, about 4 to 5 inches deep. Just take a nice little sample like this. Like this, mix it into an old flower pot. And you need to do this about 4 or 5, preferably 6 spots throughout the field or the area you're working. And then you'll turn that into the university for a soil test. So let's go ahead and take a few more test spots and we'll mix them all together and get it sent off to the lab. So the first sample was taken from back there in the tall grass. And as you can tell, the grass is pretty tall through here. But then as you work your way this way down towards the creek area, the grass kind of gets really short because this stays very wet. I got the tarp here, talk about that later on, trying to kill off that little spot to make a kind of a pumpkin patch, but trying to use those tarps to kind of kill the grass off, and we'll plant into that later on in the spring. So stay tuned for that one. We'll be showing you all about that as the time comes. Well, I'll go ahead and take another sample. And the importance of getting a solid sample from your field is you don't want to take just one spot. You need to take a variety of spots from different locations. So take some from the higher ground, some from the lower ground, maybe some in the shade, some in the kind of drier spots. Mix them all together to get an accurate portrayal of what the entire field or plot you're trying to get a sample of entails. So this one here, as I said, I've already dug this up. You know the drill. So you take the soil, you want to kind of go down here and get this soil. Okay, now this is it's a clay. There we are. It's a clay, but it also breaks apart pretty well. So it's a sandy clay. This is a ancient river bottom, but you know the river's obviously receded over the time, but so there's a lot of sand in this soil. So definitely a lot better than some of the clay I've had to work with, but definitely does lack in a lot of nutrients from the last soil test I had. So let's go ahead and get some more samples from around the field, put it all together, and tell you about how we're going to send it off and get it tested. Okay, so I've went around the field out there and I've taken 5 different soil samples. Okay, I recommend at least 5 different spots. Try to get the, like I said, the high points, low points, wet spots, kind of, out in the open, maybe near the trees, etc. You're going to want to get as much as a variety of soils that you're testing. Okay, if you only take a soil sample from one little spot, okay, it may have more nutrients of something than the other, and then your soil profile is going to be incorrect for the overall picture of what you're trying to improve. So as you can kind of see behind me back there, last year I did the soil sample, added some amendments as was recommended, and I grew some awesome peppers back there, which is what I was trying to go for. Sorry, my thumb got right in the way. The camera's kind of shaking right now. But yeah, so anyhow, just get yourself a little flower pot just like this, okay? Mix about 4 or 5 different samples in, mail it off to the university. So depending on what state you live in, it may be free, it may have a small fee. Okay, where I live, West Virginia, you can tell, Mountain Mama behind me, right? So we got a free service through WVU. You can mail it off and get your soil tested for free. Okay, now that's a very basic soil test. Okay, it's going to give you the NPK and pretty much the pH, and that's about all you're going to get. Now, if you want more, you can pay $5, $10, I think maybe up to $20 for the most premium test, which is going to be highly analytical. If you want to get to the the micronutrients, organic matter, the I don't even know what they test for, quite honestly. It gets kind of really in depth if you're into the soil sciences and stuff like that. But anyways, I like to use compost back here. This is just raked up grass and leaves and sunflower stalks from this spot here where they grew in the past. I'm definitely gonna compost this down back here, add this to the soil, but also for the field, you guys can't see back behind you where I should show you the tarp. That's gonna be pumpkins and kind of expanding into some fruit trees and some other stuff as the season progresses, as I try to transition that field out there into a productive garden space. So do get your soil tested. It's going to benefit you greatly in the long run about adding the proper nutrients, what your soil may or may not lack. If you're growing something like blueberries behind me, well, actually behind you in front of me, they need a very acidic soil. So depending on the pH, it's going to affect the outcome of some of your crops. So definitely that's something to consider when planting, whether you're planting fruit trees or peppers or trees or an apple orchard or whatever it may be. Testing your soil is vital. It's important. It's cheap, practically free. You should do it every time before you start a new plot. Okay, so that's just a nice little tip here from the Hillside Gardener. I'm going to get back to work here on this nice, abnormally warm February day before the snow gets back here this weekend. So I'm going to try to get some stuff done while I can. Until next time, guys, thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you again here at the Hillside, or maybe someplace else. I don't know. All right, guys, bye.